we have owned defensive shooting skills for the last 6 years, and we've slowly grown over the years. We average about 1,000 students a year, so pretty impressive for a mom and pop shop. Stereotypes that everybody seems to have is that women need to have this little itty bitty teal color, pink camouflage firearm. And you don't.
You never want to touch the weapon beforehand. And then, Erica, if you could walk me through some other safety protocols.
Yeah. So at the range, you have your firing line. We don't cross the firing line unless we know for certain that everybody is clear and that there's no ammunition located inside the chamber or in the magazines. When you step up, if you're right-handed, you want to be able to scoop the gun up. So you scoop it up, get that beefy part of your hand underneath this beaver tail. That's what it's designed for, is to hold the spot right there. And you want these 3 fingers up as high as possible underneath that trigger guard, with your trigger finger up on the frame off of the trigger until you're ready to shoot. Mm-hmm. And we also want to make sure that we never point the gun somewhere where we don't want to damage something.
I remember the first time that I shot a gun and it jammed and I didn't know what to do. And I know one thing that you teach is you don't turn the gun, because some people will do this.
Yeah.
They turn the gun and look at it like, oh, what happens?
Yep.
What could happen if you turn that gun looking for why it jammed?
If you're not pointing in the safe direction and you go like this with the firearm, it could fire. It could be a misfire. It could be a hang fire. It could still go off even though your finger's not on the trigger.
I know that when I take mine out, this coil comes out.
Yes, you need to get that, and then that's the barrel that goes back and forth. So the slide is what goes back and forth. The barrel is what the bullet comes out of when you pull the trigger. So you want that nice positive grip, and you almost want it like your wrists are glued together, like nothing's gonna pop your wrist apart.
Shoulders
a little bit ahead of you. Just kind of roll them ahead of you. Nice bounce in your knees. And it's just a little bit of a lean, because you want nose over toes.
So once it went forward, there's nothing in there automatically. So I'm going to shoot the 38. Once again, I've already inserted ammunition. And you could tell that that's a little bit louder than the first one.
Just a tiny bit.
So if I'm shooting to the right, typically what does that mean?
You have too much finger on the trigger.
Okay.
So you want to be on that nice, happy, beefy part of your finger, and you just want a nice squeeze back. Okay. So if you're going to take 5 shots at the practice, just keep your finger on there and then let that trigger push your finger forward, and then you just squeeze.
During your class, in order to pass the CPL course, you have to be able to hit 10 targets in the middle. I do remember that. So you take that green sheet and put it in the middle.
Yes, yep. So the state requires that you have to do a certain amount on a certain size. We've made it smaller than what the state requires.
Okay.
So we ask students to get 10 consecutive shots on that yellow piece of paper for the last round. There are other locking boxes that have codes on them that you can purchase. Some of them have the fingerprint thing, so all you have to do is like punch 4 different fingers in a certain combination and it'll unlock it. Mm-hmm. Other ones have the RIFD, like the bracelets or a rubber ring where you can get it, that you swipe over it, it opens up, so that people who shouldn't be getting them into your firearm are not able to, because it's locked and you're the only ones that know the combination. Especially if you have little fingers, so you want to keep it so that little fingers aren't curious as to what it is, because then that can be bad. So if something's happened, if somebody's in your house, call the police. This is what happened, this is where it's at, and then actually ask what officer is coming, so that you know who to expect, and then hang up and wait for them to come and make sure that your firearm's secured.
What I really liked about your course that made me really feel comfortable is the fact that it was a woman teaching me this. and you were extremely thorough in this process, and it made me feel confident
Yay.
about handling my weapon. And I was really concerned going in because I'm more concerned about hurting myself than anyone else, right?
Right.
But after that time spent with you, I did take the first steps course, and then I came out here and I knew that I was ready. The fact that I was able to hit, I was a novice to all of this, and I was hitting the targets, and I just watched you, and you and your husband have a lot of empathy, you have patience, you're able to teach this course successfully, and that's why I liked it. So
Well, great.
I thought that this was really good.
Yeah, and we don't usually see students on the after side, so it was nice to hear from you, and it's like, I didn't realize we made such an impact on her, and so it's kind of cool to see where you've gone with this and how you're doing, and we appreciate that. And
Yeah.
that makes it more family-ish too, so.
Yeah, and I remember that you told me I was one of the few students that you hugged, and I have to thank you.
Oh,
I have to
yeah.
thank you. Because I really appreciate that. Like, that means a lot. And you really never know when you meet people the emotional impact that you can have on them.
Yeah,
The spiritual impact you can have.